What's going on, guys? It's Sir Hans Felix here. Really quickly, I want to break down um the hell was that? I want to break down uh quickly US 30. Pretty much that was the only thing I traded this week. Didn't even get to trade gold, honestly. But like I'm so in love with the process and the skill set and the journey because there's so much that you can learn from it. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the trades that I took and some of the things that we learned this week, even by trading live together. All right. Don't pay attention to this. You already know I'm healing from my operation. So as the week started, we noticed that price would be selling. Why? Because on Tuesday, we saw break and retest, but it was not just any break or retest. We saw that price was selling off, lost volume, and we knew what that meant. We knew that this meant that price was going to come back up here at market open. Whenever price loses volume, it usually buys back at market open. And if it doesn't break higher than that, then that means they're going to sell for 2, 3 hours or until the end of the day, which is exactly what happened. And it continued to melt. In fact, it melted for over 1,000 points. All right. So now, for those who missed out on the sell, you're probably one of those traders like, oh my God, I missed it. Oh, I'll never be a great trader. I'll never catch a great setup. Shut up. Shut up. Right. The market is a market of abundance. Remember that. If they're not buying, then they're selling. If they're not selling, then they're buying. You just got to get visually ambidextrous. Okay. So I waited patiently for the market to keep selling until now. Price made it to a daily demand zone or a 4 hour demand zone, which is a strong area of support. Okay. A foundation is holding price together. All right. Like a house, like a brick house. Okay. When you build in the foundation of a house, the stronger the time frame, the more stronger price might bounce off of the demand or the supply. Okay. So, but one thing about constantly learning how to get better at this craft is like it's going to come with some trials. So when we went live, I believe yesterday or something like that, price kept selling, and then we noticed that in London on Thursday, price bounced off of the demand zone. Then they had a little bit of good price action. I believe there was also news, and when news came in, they bought, and then they pulled back at 9 market open. So then we took some buys, and the price literally went crazy. I believe this was it right here. Yeah, that is it right here. Let me go to the M15. And we caught like a beautiful buy right here. And that thing took off. But right as it took off, it literally retraced. And instead of pushing back up, it retraced some more, and it looked pretty weird to the point where I had to hold my positions. And I actually held my positions because one, I was saying to myself, you know what? If price respects or just sweeps pre-market 830 right here, then that means the trade is still valid. And it was. Next thing you know, price picked up volume again, and we pushed for about 142 points, and they took out Thursday's 930s highs. And guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, that is something honestly, even these little areas where price takes out old pre-session highs or market open highs is a sign, and a very, very important one, because sometimes I found myself trying to hold my positions because I'm like, I'm here to hold intraday or until the end of the session. And then now I sacrificed my profits for this 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 it's like you want to hold your position because you want to have conviction behind it. But sometimes, man, look, if price is doing that type of behavior, I have to close. So I had to come to terms with that. I was so glad I held the drawdown and it turned out to be pretty good and I closed right here. But I was like, man, this was unnecessary. I really did not have to hold all this when I could have just closed the profits. But it's just the fact that the profit happened so fast. And I'm like, I'm not really a scalper. Mentally, I don't accept myself being a scalper. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna hold longer because I want to hold a position that I feel is gonna give me all of this. And so then you ask yourself, is that greed? No, it's an over anticipation, right? It's it's a miscalc of what you thought was gonna happen and not paying attention to the internal sweeps. Like sometimes these little sweeps can really make or break you. All right. So now that was Thursday's lesson. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna learn from it. Or so I thought. Today, I took a trade because I saw that even in the later hours, the market pulled back, and it swept some more. And then by like 8 p.m., they started pushing, and then they like went into a higher high in London, and then pulled back here at 6:30 and swept the lows. All this was telling me, especially this candle right here, told me that if we swept the session like that, then we are definitely going to be buying for sure. And it confirmed that this area of demand was the area that they stopped at. You know, they pretty much stopped selling at. Sometimes we're seeing the market sell and we can't even tell how far it's going to sell off to. And that's the question you need to ask yourself when you are in trades. Like you got to be like, yo, okay, I'm in buys, but where's it buying to? Okay, I'm in sells, but where is it selling to? All right. So, and here's another thing. Even though we called a nice buy for Thursday, you got to also remember some of these setups will take a day or two to really prepare the floor before they buy some more. Ooh, bars, right? So it took Thursday to make the first half of this bottom, and then it took today to make the second half of that bottom. Okay. And then this right here gave us a nice break of structure. So here's where I messed up at. Price, I was in these buys. Okay. Price came back and I believe it swept. No, 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 no. I was in these buys and I didn't close because I thought the next candle was just gonna keep pushing. And again, I had to sit through drawdown, which honestly made me feel so annoyed because I was sitting here just waiting. Because boom, price pulled back. I thought this candle was gonna like continue. Then they pulled back, and I'm like, okay, well, this pullback is going to perhaps like just stop at the pre-market lows here. Nah, I pulled back some more. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, kept my composure. But from 10 to 11:30, guys, I was so annoyed. I was like, oh my God, you guys are testing my patience here. And I felt like it was an eternity to just sit through these trades. And eventually I closed right here. I said, you know what? My drawdown got better. So I just went and closed my loss. I was so relieved to be out of those trades. I didn't care that I lost what I lost. But I did that because I know one, I can make back that loss. Two, it was a better loss than what it was. It was far worse. Three, I have seen myself come back from a loss within the same session. All right. So I knew when price was losing volume, then that means there's a chance they might sweep again. And since I was already in some of these positions here, I said, you know what? The fact that I was in these positions here tells me that I'm not going to risk it. And to my surprise, the volume started picking back up by like 12, 15 p.m. And since I noticed that they've still maintained the floor for the New York session here, I said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to get back in, put my stop loss below here, and give it about an hour. I went and took a nap and I put my alarm for like 45 minutes. And when I woke up to profits, beautiful profits. And literally that profit covered the loss from earlier. And I did indeed recover my loss. I'm closing my profits positively for the week. I call that a good week, right? And I close my profits because I know once again this is another break of structure which could literally retrace on Monday, and I'll still continue to trade this continuation buy because now that I know that price really respected the zone, rejected the zone with all these wicks that people had to go through. But man, you had to go through like 24 hours of emotions to hold on to this. So that's why sometimes you still got to manage the trade properly and know when to close, when to get back in, because the setup is still there. All right. So if you're still watching this video right now and you're taking notes, good, because this is the thing of champions. All right. These small adjustments, these minute improvements, the little things, the little work, the compound work is really what's going to take you from where you at to where you need to be. All right. And though when people are telling me, including like shout out to some of my private students watching this and some of you guys who have been taking my private mentorship and you've seen the improvement, it's really about quality over quantity, huh? I literally focused on just this setup and I only traded like maybe twice this week, yesterday and today, and I still met my goal. All right. So if you're watching this and you're like, man, I need to downsize, you do. You really do. All right. Because why else are you all over the place? It's not going to help you. All right. Even if price is continuing to like right now, I don't care because price literally could retrace back on Sunday. And this is where I will get back in. All right. Because you need to know when it's time to close your good profits and call it a good week. All right. So I thought I needed to drop this video right away while it was fresh in my thoughts. And so as we close out the week, hopefully this is a valuable video that you watch to help you continuously grow in your journey and becoming a profitable trader. That's all I have for you. You guys have a great rest of your week. Peace, love, and blessings. And I'll see you next time. Okay. Sir Hans Felix signing out.